In this first episode of Premier Interschools, we look ahead to this Saturday's traditional rugby derby between fierce rivals Jeppe and Kez. King Edward VII School, or better known as Kez, is a proud old Johannesburg school. Rich in sporting heritage and tradition, Kez are always a force in South African schoolboy rugby.
King Edward's 111 years old this year. We have a traditional boys' school with a great old boys network, strong sense of community. We have a wonderful parent network, and they spend a great deal of time here at the school ensuring that we're able to maintain standards. Yeah, we have a great sense of community, wonderful ethos, traditional boys' school, wonderful hierarchy amongst the boys, very important to them.
Kez has become somewhat of a factory for producing sporting legends, with a host of Springboks and Proteas amongst their old boys. Bok stars Joe van Niekerk and Brian Banner are the most recent rugby heroes to wear that special red jersey.
It's been a good 13 years now since I matriculated, so it has been a while. I think I've come a long way since my days at King Edward's. Some great times that I had back there. You look back, it's the first time I ever started playing rugby. Post the '95 World Cup final, and going into high school and going to a traditionally rich sporting school like King Edward's. Rugby was a big thing for us. So looking back then, there were great times. Being a schoolboy and playing rugby is as best as it comes. And being able to play for King Edward's, being able to play the big school derbies were always special.
I think rugby within a school environment, in a particular boys' environment, always seems to bring the school together. I think it's a popular sport. So again, it lends to the spirit and the wonderful spirit we have here at King Edward. But there always seems to be just that added value to the first team rugby jersey. And I think the history of the school also plays a role in that. But we try and downplay that to a large extent. For us it's vitally important that the boys are proud to play for the school no matter what team they're in. But certainly the red jersey and the first 15 jersey in particular is something that boys really strive to attain.
Just the pride and passion that goes with wearing your first team jersey at school was an absolutely fantastic privilege and honor, and being able to do it at a school like King Edward's was really special.
While every first team match is cherished, a big derby is something really special. For both Kez and Jeppe, this match is the one that really matters.
We always look forward to playing Jeppe Boys High School, and there's a healthy rivalry between the two schools based on mutual respect.
I think the King Edward's Jeppe fixture has always been a big one in the Johannesburg schools calendar. There's always been massive crowd attendance. I remember my first team game against Jeppe in my matric year. It was my first ever televised game. And I'll never forget, it was at Jeppe. It was a physical, it was a hard, tough game, and the crowds were there in their droves. So yeah, it was great to experience stuff like that. It was great to experience schoolboy rugby, really living out the full enjoyment of this great game we call rugby.
The Jeppe fixture is always the biggest fixture of the year. Traditional rivals, I don't know since when, but it goes back many years. It's a once-off fixture, and if we do well in it, it really does make our season.
The overall record between the two schools favours Kez by some distance, but in recent years, Jeppe have started to turn the tables.
In the recent 3 years, we've been having difficult encounters, especially last year where we've lost on the home ground. I think it's actually measured up to be quite difficult now because of how they've grown up to be a big school, good school, turning black and gold.
That means nothing. 70 minutes into the game, history means nothing. In schoolboy rugby, you always get a new side, so it really doesn't mean anything. We're looking forward to the 2013 fixture. We're going to prepare as we prepare for every game. Obviously, there are going to be nuances for the Jeppe clash that we're going to look at, but in essence, we're going to do the exact same things we've been doing for the whole season that hopefully have been working for us.
At the past few years, we actually have built a tradition of focusing from the first week, building the players inside the change room, starting from schoolwork. They have to be up and ready. We always have traditions of getting up at school, going to gym in the morning, preparing ourselves mentally and physically for the game. It's not just something we come about every weekend and play. It's actually one thing we have to hold up, especially for the old boys who represented the school in the previous years.
The school unites behind the first 15 in their red jerseys with their famous teddy bear mascot.
You cannot describe the feeling of wearing that red jersey. So, I mean, the likes of Joe van Niekerk and Brian Abana have been in those jerseys. So, being one of those players who you can say, I have worn the same jersey as Joe van Niekerk is just extremely exciting. So.
Wearing the red jersey was a goal of mine since grade 8 when I walked through the gates of Cares. But for me, it's not really wearing it, it's performing in it. That's the major thing for me. And we've only done the first step in wearing it. Now we've got to perform for it.
I don't like to normally talk before the game, but I think we're up for it. I think the team's ready and we've got something to prove to them. I think we should actually show them what we've got on our home ground.
It's very early in the season, but I would like to believe that our side this year would like to revenge the defeat of last year. So I think we'll be playing just that extra little bit harder this year.
After the break, we visit rival school Jeppe. Jeppe High School, established in 1890, is almost as old as Johannesburg itself. With their black and white striped blazers, the passionate Jeppe support stands out in a school steeped in tradition.
Our motto is very simple, and that's turning black and white into gold. And it's got nothing to do with race or anything like that. It's basically the wearer of the black and white jacket or blazer of the school, and we turn them into the gold, which is Johannesburg and especially Gauteng is known for. I believe Jeppe is the example of what a true South African school should look like today with our racial split. People ask me how many black boys and how many white boys have you got in school right now. I won't be able to tell you. But whether you come from a shack or whether you come from a millionaire side of point of view, boys get together, they mix together. And what's very interesting for me is the fact that all old boys will always tell you that their success in the business world has got a lot to do with what they learned here at Jeppe as far as the ethos is concerned and being a gentleman. And I think that is what Jeppe is all about.
When it comes down to it, few things are more important to a Jeppe boy than victory over Kes on the rugby field.
Rugby is, according to the old boys, is a religion at the school, and to a lot of boys it is.
The schools place quite a big emphasis on rugby, so it's part of the culture of the school and the history of the school. And the nice thing at school as well is a bit more of an even playing field. All types play, it's not just the supreme athletes, towards the top end of the sport. But at school, everyone can participate up until the D or the E team. You feel part of something, so even if your little E team wins, it's under 14 game, it's still a big thing in the overall results for the school. So you still feel like you're contributing some way. And I think that's what's important about it. It just builds bonds.
Jeppe's first ever match in 1935 was against Kes, who to this day are by far their fiercest rivals.
A win against Kes will be really great this year, especially beating them on their home ground. I was part of the team that beat them last year, so I'm really looking forward to this year's fixture.
Traditionally, it's quite weird. I suppose Kes has always had the flashy back line. They've always been the running, attractive team, and Jeppe's always had the big forwards.
We have a powerful forward pack. Van Waarhuizen in the front row, Emmanuel and Andrew Acton.
Our team this year is really a great team who've played together. We've got a great back three. I think on attack we can be really deadly, especially if we have a lot of space.
I'm just very privileged working with a phenomenal group of boys. Mentally they are really tough, so we deal with it exactly the same as any other game. Not focusing a lot on the pressure, doing exactly what we would normally do leading up to any other big game.
Kes is always a strong side. Every year they always put up a fight. Even though in the past years we've had good results against them,
I don't think that's going to count.
I've never won really at Cares on their home ground, so to go out there and actually beat them on the home ground would be a big victory for Jeppe.
The match against Cares is always big. It's a lot. There's more than rugby taking place. It's when old boys get together, reunions are taking part. And yes, Cares is a very, very good rugby school. We've been lucky and we've been happy over the past years to sneak in a couple of wins, but I think overall Cares have always had the better winning margin than Jeppe.
I think it's about 50-50 over the last couple of years. We've beaten them in 2010 and then had a really good win in 2012, and in 2011 at Cares we lost against them. So in recent years we've actually done reasonably well.
After the inaugural fixture in 1935, the two schools have done battle on the rugby field no fewer than 77 times. Thanks to long periods of dominance, Cares have the better record in this fixture with 55 wins, while Jeppe have tasted sweet victory on just 21 occasions. There have also been 5 drawn matches to emphasize just how tight these derby games can be.
I believe Jeppe has the edge. I'm looking at a 50-50-24 score.
It's going to be a tight game, and all right, it'll be a 30-20 final score.
Basically, I'm just trying to say that I'm with Jeppe 100%, 100.
And my prediction will be a double from last year, except on their home ground.
Take 2.
I'll respect them, but I won't fear them.
Today, we stand for all that is, for our heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become.
Watch Jeppe versus Cares in Premier Interschools this Saturday, live on SuperSport.